Briefing The New York Times, April 6, 2026. Recently, the New York Times has focused on U.S. political and legal processes, foreign policy uncertainties, and select cultural and entertainment coverage. Key storylines include: Trump discussed firing Attorney General Pam Bondi. Reports indicate that Donald Trump held discussions regarding the dismissal of Attorney General Pam Bondi, reflecting his ongoing concerns and maneuvers regarding personnel and power dynamics within the justice system. Impact of Trump's NATO withdrawal threat. The paper notes that Trump's remarks about potentially abandoning NATO are creating a hollowing out effect, weakening trust and security expectations within the alliance, leaving allies facing greater uncertainty in defense and policy coordination. Celebrity interview: Zendaya and Robert Pattinson on marriage and secrets. In entertainment news, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson discussed marriage, personal secrets, and the drama in their work, highlighting the tension between private lives and public narratives. Op-ed: Trump pardon recipients' alleged crime spree. A commentary piece criticizes those pardoned by Trump, citing signs of continued criminal activity post-pardon and expressing concerns over the legitimacy of the clemency and its impact on public safety. Judge halts White House ballroom construction. Reports state a judge has ruled to stop the construction of a White House ballroom, signaling a judicial check on executive action that may affect subsequent project schedules and policy execution. Overall trend: the day's reporting forms a clear narrative: domestic friction between judicial and executive powers occurring alongside wavering foreign security commitments. Combined with entertainment and commentary, this presents a multi-dimensional landscape of political, social, and cultural public opinion. Briefing of The Washington Post, April 6, 2026. Trump weighs further cabinet adjustments but seeks to avoid massive shakeup. The Washington Post reports that while Trump is evaluating further personnel changes, his considerations lean toward avoiding major shocks. This suggests a desire to maintain team stability while using selective adjustments to address domestic and international pressures. Op-ed: Call for the next William Henry Harrison. An opinion piece titled "Will the next William Henry Harrison please stand up?" uses the historical figure as a metaphor for current political dilemmas. The core reflects on the public's search for a symbolic figure or solution capable of quickly turning the tide amid policy uncertainty. Gulf allies privately pressure Trump for decisive victory over Iran. Reports suggest Gulf allies are communicating privately with Trump, emphasizing continued pressure to ensure Iran is thoroughly defeated. This indicates a heightened sense of urgency among regional partners for a definitive strategic conclusion rather than incremental negotiations. Commentary: controversy over Back to the Stone Age warnings. The headline "Back to the Stone Age" reflects a strong value judgment, likely pointing to regressive risks in policy or social issues. The focus is to warn the public that improper reform directions could lead to lower efficiency, safety, and competitiveness. White House News app criticized as "Trump always wins" narrative tool. Reports point out that the White House News app heavily concentrates on positive information and victory narratives for Trump. This reflects a strategy of using algorithms and content curation to keep a specific political image at the core of the information flow. Briefing of The Wall Street Journal, April 6, 2026. Markets and geopolitics. Optimism surrounding Hormuz hope drove stocks upward. Expectations of a de-escalation in Middle East conflicts improved investor sentiment, helping U.S. stocks offset previous declines in March. Political dynamics. Trump reportedly told aides he is willing to end the war without reopening Hormuz. This exclusive report is being interpreted by markets as a potential factor in future negotiation paths and geopolitical risk pricing. Opinion column. An article explores the distinction between gay and queer identities, discussing the boundaries of linguistic labels and the tension between self-identification and external terminology. Media industry. A deep dive titled "I Will Destroy You" depicts a power struggle within a Midwestern media family over control, narrative authority, and commercial interests, a microcosm of the fractures within traditional media dynasties. Tech and archives. Reports claim Apple possesses an extensive internal archive containing history that even Tim Cook might not know, showcasing how the company preserves key assets for cultural and R&D value. Briefing Financial Times, April 6, 2026. Stablecoin stampede intensifies. Traditional financial institutions are accelerating their entry into the crypto space. The focus is shifting from concepts to large-scale commercialization, signaling heightened competition and regulatory maneuvering. UK consumer tip: Martin Lewis advises that replacing certain household appliances can reduce running costs by up to 20 times compared to a dryer, as energy efficiency becomes a critical variable for households. Child Safety, a compilation of 20 times kids were caught doing stupid things, serves as a reminder to strengthen risk awareness and supervision to reduce domestic accidents. Briefing The Guardian, April 6, 2026. Personnel adjustments. Trump is reportedly consulting advisors on whether to replace Tulsi Gabbard as head of intelligence. State politics. Florida Governor DeSantis signed a bill to rename Palm Beach Airport in honor of Trump, a symbolic move within the political camp. Security incident. The Secret Service is investigating reports of a suspected shooting near the White House. AI regulation. California plans to move forward with new AI regulations despite calls from the Trump camp, highlighting the federal-state divide on tech governance. Iran conflict. Trump claimed the war related to Iran is nearly complete during a primetime address aimed at justifying the administration's actions. Briefing The Times, April 6, 2026. Celebrity controversy. Reports focus on allegations involving a model being paid $25 a minute for explicit calls with Kristi Noem's husband. Culture. An article discusses whether April Fool's Day is losing its magic and if public interest in the tradition is waning. Media interaction. Streets blog. New York City used a 404-foot D. The Times version headline, reflecting a meta-joke about web errors and media interaction. Entertainment. Actor Brian Cox, at 79, spoke bluntly about Trump, Nigel Farage, and sex, blending political criticism with broader social commentary. Briefing The Telegraph, April 6, 2026. U.S. politics. Trump reportedly replaced the Attorney General due to controversies surrounding Epstein documents. Security. Reports cite Trump saying the U.S. is strongly considering withdrawing from NATO, sparking concerns over transatlantic commitments. Local news. Restaurants in Warner Robins in Houston County performed well in recent health inspections. Sports. The CM baseball team achieved a 10-0 shutout against Alton, with Butler delivering a standout performance. Briefing Le Monde, April 6, 2026. Political style. The paper discusses Trump's rhetoric, asking why is he so mean, and evaluating the impact of his aggressive communication style. Economy. Strong U.S. job growth in March indicates a resilient labor market. Diplomacy. President Macron stated that Trump's marriage jokes were not worth responding to, opting for a de-escalation strategy. Middle East. Trump signaled a victory in sight regarding Iran while simultaneously promising big strikes, heightening regional tension. Cuba. Under U.S. pressure, Cuba pardoned over 2,000 prisoners, seen as a significant humanitarian and political signal. Briefing Yelpace, April 6, 2026. Venezuela. The opposition has returned to the streets to regain international attention. Key figure Maria Corina Machado is seeking a delicate balance of support within the Trump administration's political ecosystem. Economic warning. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink warned of global recession risks if the Iran conflict lasts more than a year, citing impacts on supply chains and energy. Rescue mission. The U.S. successfully rescued pilots of the first planes downed in the Iran conflict, a move used to bolster the administration's crisis management narrative. Narrative critique. Trump's Iran war narrative is criticized as chaotic, with contradictions and hyperbolic rhetoric increasing market and diplomatic uncertainty. Briefing Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, April 6, 2026. Balkans. An interview with Luka Vuskovic focuses on why he believes his brother is innocent, providing a personal perspective on a controversial case. Aviation. Rising fuel prices due to the Iran war are forcing Lufthansa to force park older aircraft to manage costs. Natural disaster. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Indonesia, posing challenges to local infrastructure. Conflict resolution. Focus remains on whether Ukraine and Russia can agree on an Easter ceasefire and the potential for a temporary de-escalation. Briefing Süddeutsche Zeitung, April 6, 2026. Panama Papers. A 10-year retrospective by the ICIJ highlights the lasting impact of the leak on global financial transparency and anti-money laundering efforts. Housing. Germany's Klingbeil plans to establish a new federal agency to ensure the supply of affordable rental housing amid a national shortage. Sports. Coverage focuses on BVB, Dortmund, rising stars and player Nick Woltmade's response to critics. Briefing China Daily, April 6, 2026. South China Sea, reports emphasize China's maritime protection and management capabilities to safeguard navigation safety and rights. Crime, a drug smuggling suspect was repatriated from the U.S., highlighting cross-border law enforcement cooperation. Culture, a feature on how French cinema connects generations and crosses borders to promote international understanding. National spirit, coverage of President Xi Jinping's remarks on honoring national heroes and martyrs to guide social identity. Briefing Yomiuri Shimbun and Asahi Shimbun, April 6, 2026. Digital finance, Japanese banks are supporting a digital transformation led by a new chairman. Daiwa Securities is offering employees stock worth 100,000 yen as a benefit. Industry mergers, Mitsubishi Fuso and Hino will merge to form Arch Ion, reshaping the commercial vehicle industry. Space cooperation, Japan and France are strengthening ties in space debris removal to mitigate orbital risks. Supply chains, Minister Takaichi is seeking stronger collaboration with Asian nations to stabilize supply chains and mitigate the impact of the Iran war. Briefing The Sydney Morning Herald, April 6, 2026. Documentary, a 3-hour film, Kangaroo Valley, is being promoted as a stress relief outlet for viewers to escape the madness of daily life. Analysis, a feature discusses how Trump's cut off the head of the snake strategy regarding Iran may be backfiring, leading to unintended consequences. Sports, Adam Scott's Postmasters win celebrations highlight the role of his father in his success. Briefing The Globe and Mail, April 6, 2026. Media, the Associated Press, AP, is offering buyouts to U.S. staff as it shifts away from traditional newspaper services toward digital models. Energy, debates are intensifying over whether the Canadian federal government should initiate uranium enrichment for energy autonomy. Politics, reports mention a new book by a British author where Trump reportedly discusses the annexation of Canada, sparking local discussion. Briefing The Australian, April 6, 2026. Wine industry, Australian wineries are struggling with succession plans to maintain business continuity across generations. Science, a scientist in the Australian bush discovered the largest wax moth ever recorded. Tech, wearable brand Whoop reached a $10 billion valuation following a viral turn during the Australian Open. Briefing The Straits Times, April 6, 2026. Red Sea security, officials claim Iran is pushing Houthi rebels to pressure Red Sea shipping, increasing global maritime risks. Government pay, Trump has ordered the repayment of back pay to all Homeland Security employees affected by previous government shutdowns. Social media, Instagram is testing new paid subscription models to explore alternative revenue streams. Briefing The Hindu, April 6, 2026. U.S.-Cuba, relations are being reassessed with a mix of tough posturing and open communication channels. Energy transition, India is pursuing an orderly exit from traditional energy, balancing emission goals with energy security and fiscal constraints. Tech regulation, a ruling on Meta and YouTube is redefining the boundaries of platform responsibility and content distribution rules. Briefing Al Jazeera, April 6, 2026. Iran-U.S. relations, Iran's foreign minister confirmed contact with U.S. envoy Witkoff but denied that formal negotiations are underway. Condemnation, Iran criticized U.S.-Israeli strikes on civilian targets as a moral collapse. Resource rhetoric, Al Jazeera highlighted Trump's comment that the U.S. could take Iran's oil, viewing it as a signal of a resource-oriented hardline policy.